What's up, everybody? So I just got the news that I just got awarded my first ever art grant, which is pretty cool. I've helped out with some other people's art grants before, but this is my first ever project that, like, my name's on it. Like, this is my project. And it's also cool because this is my first ever solo project as a fire artist, because this is going to be a fire piece. Just kind of crazy. If you asked me a couple years ago, I wouldn't even considered myself an artist. And now I'm entering the world of art grants, which is pretty crazy. Never thought I'd get here. Anyways, the piece is called the Pyre. It's going to be a witch, and she has a mirror for a face. And basically, as you walk up to the statue of a witch burning and you look her in the face, you're going to see yourself reflected back at you. And the piece is just kind of asking, like, what are you really trying to burn? Like, a lot of the times with witch hunts and other things, it seems like people persecute things that they see within themselves, and when they see that in another person, they're afraid of it and they attack that. So it's really just asking you, like, what are you trying to burn? What are you trying to persecute? Like, why are you really here? I think it's going to be a really cool piece, and I'm doing this to try and document the entire process. Like, I want to document everything. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Alright, so this is the basic sculpture. It has the witch, she's burning at the stake. The base has an inscription of, right now it says this, but that's what I've been working on. First things first is I need to get this base, I need to get the files done so it can get cut. So over here, that's what I've been doing, actually. So I took the SVG image and I sliced it here, just because it avoids any sort of art along this line. And then from what I did with that is I made each piece into a machinable piece. The base itself is going to be about 6 feet in diameter. So when I slice it in half, each of these are about 3 feet in diameter, like 3 feet by like 2 feet or something like that. And then these are cut into smaller pieces so that the base can be in different sections. And then I was checking it here as I was importing all the different pieces to make sure that the DXF is actually a DXF. So that's what I've been working on here. I think I finally got all of my pieces machinable. So I just sent my DXFs off to get checked. Alright, so a quick little update of where we're at. We went through, did some budgeting. It looks like it's going to be about $800 for all of the plasma cutting of the base, all the texts and detail and stuff, which is a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. But that's alright. As far as the rest of the materials go, I think we're budgeting about $300 for all the propane piping and stuff that we need to do the fire effect. And the rest of it just goes to metal. We need some number 8 polished stainless steel for the face, which is like near grade stainless steel, so you'll be reflected in the face. I think we're going to use bolts for skin. The bolts also ended up being a little bit more expensive than we thought. Originally the whole sculpture was going to be bolts, but now we're going to do a lot of sheet metal as clothing, stuff like that. I think it'll look cool, but that'll save us a little bit of money, get us back on budget. And then, my buddy finally got my files over to the plasma cutting guy, and it looks like my text is too detailed, so now I need to go through and adjust the text. You can think of this as the plasma cutter is like a 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch circle, So I'm going to go through and run a circle along the path of the text. And anywhere I can't get that circle into, that's not going to show up on the plasma cutter. So I'm going to go through, simplify a lot of that, just redraw a lot of the text. And then hopefully that will clear up that. I'm also going to enlarge the text because originally I had it repeating twice. But I'm just going to have the what are you really trying to burn on one side, and then like what are you actually afraid of on the other side, instead of it repeating a whole bunch. So between enlarging the text and then going through and doing that, I think I can save a decent amount of detail, but also simplify it enough to get done. So I will go on that later, and then hopefully we can get moving on a lot more of this stuff. Alright, so as you can see here, this is the size of my original text down here, and this is the size of my new text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle here, and this is all in millimeters. So my friend said that it can handle up to a 1/4 inch radius, and a 1/4 inch in millimeters is 6.35. So if I hit 6.35, 6.35, right. So now this should be a 1/4 inch radius. What I can do is I can take this, I can put it inside my letters, I can drag it around, and see how this is outside that 1/4 inch radius. That means I can't cut that. So I'm gonna have to see what I can and can't do here. And then from there, I will try and simplify some of this detail, get it to where it can be cut. But I think that upsizing the letters really helps. Because if we drag this over to my original letters, there's no way. There's no way most of that can get cut. So, yeah. It's going to be a little while fixing all this. But I'll go through, edit all this, and then get it resent out and see if that can solve our issues here. Alright, so we picked up all of the plasma cut parts last night. So now I gotta go through and see what all this stuff is. I'm gonna grind it down and get this all ready to get welded together. We've got a lot of letters. Got giant star pieces. Got all my letter centers and stuff somewhere here. So I'll just go through this, get everything built. Alright, so we did have one little oopsies, which is basically my fault. But on the plates here, I have these stars cut. Now, in my original design, the words surrounding the circle repeated themselves. But when I sent my files over to the plasma cutting people, they were like, hey, those letters are too small, they won't cut, we need to adjust some things. So I made the letters bigger, I made the words only repeat once, and I had stars between each of them. So on my updated files, I only had 2 stars. But on these, top plate, 2 stars, and then on the bottom plate, there's also 2 stars. So that stuff's not gonna line up how I wanted it to line up anymore, because the stars in the pattern are supposed to go all the way through the base, like just cut through to be holes. But since that's not gonna work anymore, not a big deal. I'm just gonna weld the offcuts back in, and it'll be fine. So yeah, no worries. Getting the plates all ground down. Charlie's over here helping grind down parts of the rings. So yeah, getting this all ground down. All turned out really good though. Alright, so it's a little overcast today. I'm fighting the weather a little bit. Gonna try and get the base somewhat done today. I'm setting up to put these star pieces back in right now. Basically what I found that I can do is put a little bit of small gravel in here, because I've got this back plate just giving a table to sit on, and if I put a little bit of dirt in here, when I go to put the star on, the star sits a little bit more flush versus when I just put it in there, it just sinks in. So I'm gonna do that and that. I've already got this one mostly in. We couldn't quite finish it the other day because, again, the sun was going down that day, so that's why. But once I get all the stars welded back in, then I can start putting the outer rings on and getting everything put together. So, getting all set up to weld over here, grind it all down. Should be a pretty good day. Yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so got the stars patched back in. They're not perfect, but you can see the one there and the one there. Like, they blend in enough to pass once everything's together. And it ended up being pretty good test run because I am not good at welding without gas. Yeah, so using flux core wire, little bit of a learning curve, but cranked the heat up, got it pretty good. So yeah, next step is to weld these rings in place. This one's pretty much good to go. And then we'll get that one, and then I'll start welding the centers of the letters in because I'm worried about losing those. So that's the next step. Do that, get it all prepped and ready to go. So I was playing around a little bit with the fit of these rings, and I noticed that it was overlapping or underlapping on these, And remember how I said that these rings and the bottom circle came from 2 different file types because of the 2 stars on this one and the 4 stars that were in the base? Well, somehow it ended up so that the alignment is just over the seam. I honestly kind of like that a little bit, because it'll give me, like when I'm putting it together, it'll give me kind of like some puzzle piece kind of fit together spots. So that's actually a happy little accident there. But for now, it's time for me to get these wearings welded into place. And yeah. Is take my drawings that I drew and turn them into more of a 3D cardboard model, because if I take like this chest piece and I make it out of cardboard, then I can bend it into shape. So when I'm working with like sheet metal, I know what to expect. Alright, so this is what I ended up with. So it's not perfect, but you can kind of see like the pleats of her dress, and then just like the general shape of what things are going to be, the way her arms are going to be back. So now I know I approximately need to make like these kind of shapes out of sheet metal to like form it. Some interesting things that I kind of figured out is this and these completely rolled. Like these unrolled are the same width as that. So I can kind of like, when I'm working in larger scale, I can kind of approximate some things like that. So it was good that I made this. But yeah, so I gotta have a metal pole that she's tied to. Her arms are gonna stick past the sleeves a little bit. Like her like wrists and stuff are gonna be a little exposed. Everywhere there's skin is gonna be bolts. So like her neck leading up into her face. I need to figure out the hat next, and then I'm probably gonna add some like of these like shoulder pad kind of things to kind of bridge the gap where her arms are at. There'll be a little bit of side pieces. So yeah, the other cool thing that I was thinking of is possibly like cutting some holes here and there for like fire. And then the other thing I can figure out with this is like how exactly I want the internal fire piping to be. So that's where I'm at. Cardboard model. Hopefully I can start making this out of metal soon. Alright, so what I'm doing now, I'm taking all of the cardboard pieces I cut out yesterday, and I'm transferring them into metal, like this, like the chest piece we just put out a few minutes ago. I'm gonna trace this and cut another piece out for the back, and then all of these slats and stuff are going to be pieces of the dress. And yeah, we're gonna use I think we're gonna use some muriatic acid on it to get all the rust off, and then weld it all together. And yeah, we'll see how this comes together. working on the dress pieces, and they ought to be kind of curved. So I discovered, well, I thought when I'm doing woodworking and carpentry, whenever I want to bend plywood, I score it, and then I kind of bend it from there. And it's kind of working. I don't know how much you can see the bends, but basically cutting little flowy pieces that are eventually going to make their way into being the dress on top of there. So yeah, chest pieces, dress pieces, we're getting it all figured out and put together. So alright, so another day here back at Casey's. We're starting to get all this metal de-rusted. Charlie's over here doing muriatic acid, trying to melt the rust away. Hi, Charlie. We're all saran wrapped, waiting to get out. The method I was doing the other day with the scoring and bending of the metal was working really well, but I found out that the other day my makerspace recently got an English wheel, which is perfect for rolling and forming metal and getting them all into the swoopy little pieces we need. So de-rusted, I'll take those over there later today and get everything all prepped and ready to go. But for now, Charlie's over here doing the muriatic acid treatment, and I'm over here just polishing away some surface rust with flapper discs and stuff. So we'll get all that done, get this going, and yeah, I'm excited for this English wheel later.
So what are you doing?
This is called an English wheel, and basically, as the metal rolls back and forth inside of this, it slowly bends to the shape of this ball. It's actually subtly stretching the metal, which is the weird part about this tool, which is why you roll less on the outsides than you do on the inside, and that's what kind of causes the metal to stretch, push it down a little bit, which is how this tool is working. It just takes a real long time. I was hoping that this would be better, but it seems that torching the metal and hammering it a whole bunch is going to be a faster way to get this done. I think for like the chest pieces and like the back piece maybe, because that's going to be like for these dress pieces, like they're kind of mostly straight, like they're curved a bit in this direction, but they're mostly straight and they flare out a lot at the bottom. So I think hammering these is the better move, so that you make a whole bunch and get like that flowy kind of pattern. But for the chest pieces, I think that this will work better if you're getting a much more kind of rounded curve over the whole piece. So yeah, the shape's starting to come together of what she's going to be eventually. Alright, so I skipped a couple steps, but all those dress pieces that I was trying to hammer out and bend and all that kind of stuff, got pretty much the bottom row of her finished. So next I need to work on her chest, which that's her chest, that's her back, at least one of those. And that'll be out at like an angle And then this is the post that I've been bending everything on. And this is going to be mounted behind her. So. Alright, so we got a bunch of bolts today. And we have them all laid out into these plaster molds. And then from there, I'm going to start tack welding all of them together to make the form of her. So like everywhere there's going to be skin base where we're doing bolts. So. Alright, so it's been a little while since I last filmed an update, but we've been getting a lot done. So we got the dress. I carved some more, like because this piece of the dress was cut so I could bend it, I ended up cutting some more different textures into the dress and then adding some patchwork. So now it looks like the dress is all patched together, so that's good. And then herself is coming together quite nicely. Charlie's been helping me weld a lot of this, piecing this together all day. So reaching the last little push here. I need to get this a little bit more fitted. Get the back piece a little bit more fitted. Put it all together and get the arms in place. But we're getting closer. Alright, so it's Friday night. It's a week before we leave. Got her starting to come together a lot more. Front of her dress is attached to her. It's also welded to the skirt, so it's all one piece now. It'll probably come apart at some point, but I needed to at least tack it to get it all fitted. Her hat needs quite a bit more welding. I need to get the mirror plate attached to the face, and then she currently has no arms and no pole. One of the arms is right here. I'll work on getting that mounted tomorrow, but it's a little bit too late at night to do any more grinding or hammering or anything like that. So, but we're coming along. We're gonna get there. We also need to figure out the fire system running through her, but that is also a this weekend thing. But yeah, we leave in exactly 1 week for setup, so she needs to get done basically this week, preferably this weekend, but I'll get what I can get done this week. The bolts place doesn't open until Monday, so I'm a little bit screwed there, but if I can try to get most of her done and welded and figured out so she's ready to go. But yeah, she's turning out. It's gonna be cool. Alright, well, we had some stuff come in from Amazon today. These are parts of the fire pit system. So basically, we got these metal rings have all the little holes in them. So I've got a 12-inch here, which will be at the bottom of her. And then I've also got this 6-inch one. So that'll be further up. So we'll be stacked in a row. And then these are also going to get wrapped with steel wool. And what that does is after this burns for a little while, that steel wool is going to get really hot. And then let's say the wind comes and blows out the propane. The steel wool is going to be so hot that it'll just instantly ignite it again. So it windproofs the sculpture, makes it a little bit safer. And yeah, so I've been waiting all day for these things to show up. Man, the welding on this stuff. I don't know how well you guys can see some of these welds, but they're not super pretty. Got some pitting, hopefully no leaks, but I mean, even if there are leaks, there's holes anyways, so I don't know how big of a deal that's gonna be, but get what you pay for when you order from Amazon. Anyways, I'm gonna get dressed and head back to Loveland, and hopefully we can try getting these installed today. Got a little bit more to do on the sculpture. Still got another arm to make. I got like basically her whole right side I still need to do. Her arm, her side, her sleeve. And then that should be most of that, and that's just getting the fire system running. A few more things, but we're getting there. We're almost there. It is currently Sunday, and we pack up the cars and leave Friday, so not a lot of time to get this all done, but we'll get it done. Alright, so I got my tree built here. Has my 12-inch ring, followed by my 6-inch ring. It'll go very base of her, and then there. Gas will go in through there, and then this is my regulator and shut-off switch. So, next thing I need to do is I want this to be freestanding. So I need to like build a little bit of a frame for this. We were also talking about going off the bottom of this and like L-ing off. That way my propane hose connection is not super close to the flame. So get all that done, and yeah. Alright, so today working on making the last arms. I got my last big order of bolts today. Bag of 200. So I'll make this last arm, all these bolts laid out. Got a couple more pieces for my fire system. That way the hose and everything can connect back here, so it's nice and far away from where all my fire is going to be. Hopefully we can try and test that today. My friend has another project that we got to do some fire testing for, and we've got a propane tank we need to evacuate anyways. So hopefully we can get some fire testing done today, just so I can see how it looks, see where I can cut some holes into it, because we've got the plasma cutter here now, so the goal with that would be to cut a few holes within the dress and make it so that some fire can poke through. I'm going to get these arms placed and welded up and all that kind of stuff. And yeah. let's see how this looks. So I've got it tacked at the shoulder and the wrist right now. So I think the proportions on this are mostly right. Yeah, the positioning's mostly where I need it to be. Post is still somewhat free. And then I've been thinking a lot about how this is all going to mount together. So I think I'm going to have, like, the base, we're going to have a screw, like, post mount in the base of this. And then she arms, everything is all one piece. So we'll put her in place, push the post down, screw that into place, and that'll kind of keep her locked into place a little bit. And then she should be somewhat stable from there. So, alright, I am going to finish tacking all this up, and yeah. Alright, so I got her arm all the way mounted, and I've got a shoulder pad on here now. The welds are kind of bad, but they're just placing it for now. And I am going to try and trace the same kind of shape as the other one. Come back over here. But she's coming together. Needs to be like much further back. So that comes around there. Kind of comes out like that. I'm gonna go. We'll just cut that off for now, and then bend this, and then if I need to trim more off, because I can always take more off, putting ones back on is trickier. So let's get that done. Alright, so I got her other shoulder mounted on here. So now this is pretty much her. I still need to fill in this side of her like this, but first I need to like get in here and do some more skeletal kind of work and just like patch some things and just make sure everything's like solid. Since we decided we're just gonna leave her as one piece, it's all just got to be rock solid welds, because once I patch it, there's not going to be a lot of getting in there. So just do what I can now, and then patch up that side of her, and then we'll get to the fire system over there. So still need to do the fire system and mount her post to the base. And then for transporting, we want the hat to be detachable. So I think we're gonna do this out of baling wire. Just keep it really easy, because we can just baling wire into the bolts here. But that's most of the statue. I need to cut out a bunch more of these that I have on hand. That way, if the mirror gets scratched up, or we're also worried about if we do burn propane, getting this all sooty. So I've got a piece, got the rest of this sheet here. That's, I don't know, I can probably get probably 6 total. And then we do have fronts and backs. This is the really shiny side. I'm not even taking that out yet, but we have the front too, which I think there seems like there's a coating on this side, but I haven't been able to peel anything up, so I'm not 100% convinced. But we'll see. So we just got that stuff left to do. Hopefully we can get this all done today, and then we've got some other projects going to go to. So the process I'm using to cut these out is a little interesting. This tool takes little tiny bites out of the material, and it just works its way around taking little bites out. And the reason I'm doing it is because this is mirror finished. I don't want to like put any like heat into the material, otherwise it's going to ruin the mirror finish. But this is a cold working process, which helps a lot. Starting to take little bites out of things, and I gotta be careful to keep track of all these chips, because this is stainless steel and it's not magnetic, so we gotta be careful about how we can clean these up. So yeah, it's just taking little tiny chips and bites out of it. So yeah. Well, looks pretty cool. Yeah.
Move. Get in my way, move.
We're here at Apo. Since Apo. I've been sitting here editing all this footage together. That last clip was supposed to be me at Apo talking about like, oh hey, you know, we got here, we did it, here's the sculpture, all that kind of stuff. But our DJ for our camp was playing in the background, and it was a little bit too loud. You can't hear anything I'm saying. So I cut that clip short, and I'm just making a short little outro now. But thank you so much for everybody that had anything to do with this project. I couldn't have done this without Torch and Monica's guidance on all of this. Thank you so much to Charlie for helping me with so much of the labor on this. I didn't show half of what went into the sculpture, and that's also kind of my bad. I wanted there to be a lot more clips of me doing things. I feel like this video kind of jumped around a little bit now that I'm like watching it back and editing it all together. But I'll do better on that next time. But for the most part, I feel pretty good. I showed most of the steps, most of the stuff that went into this. Just in the background there was a lot of us doing things. But this was a really cool project. I'm really glad I got this opportunity. This was a first for me. Like I said, I've never done an art grant before. That was like my art grant. I've helped out with my friends' art grants, but this was the first one that I've been like, I had my name on it. I got billed for it, and so that was really cool. This like I also don't generally do a ton of metal. I've only been a metal worker for the past couple of years. My background's mainly in carpentry. So this was the first project that I was like, shit, I really need to fabricate all of this together. So that was a really cool experience. It was, honestly, it was amazing. It's a little bit sad that we didn't actually get to burn her this year. This year at Apogaea, there was a fire ban because Colorado has been very, very dry. So we couldn't burn the witch. My entire camp had a bunch of fire at it, and we were just, it was just metal sculptures at that point. But it was alright. Things happen. Hopefully there's going to be some events coming up soon that we can bring her to, so stay tuned for the full actual reveal with her with fire. I know I'm really looking forward to it. But we'll see when we can get out and do that. But in general, this was a really fun project. It was a lot of fun steps figuring out how to like make everything work, and you know, we had some interesting pivots with some things. And it was a fun challenge. It was really fun. Thank you for watching this video. I know it ended up being kind of long, but there, like I said, there was a lot that went into this. There were a lot of steps. But yeah, thank you so much. Stay tuned for my next projects, and yeah, bye everybody.